Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to learn how to create a landing page using Next.js and Tailwind CSS. So as you can see, this is the project, okay? It's just one page basically. We have a bit of routing, but we actually link to external pages, okay? We'll be using Next.js for that, the routing. Here, the main feature of the project is this card, this product card. In fact, it's a component and we are reusing the component, okay? And we are just passing different props to it in order to reuse the component, okay? All the buttons work. If you click, you are taken to a real website, okay, where you can see more details. Of course, you can check the details about the product. You can just click on the pictures to see the product details. And we have a very basic footer, also linking externally. We have this part where I also link externally. And when it comes to the animation, notice that the component that is in the middle, the second one, when it's in view, we can see it. But if we scroll, now that component, it's not in view anymore. But if I keep scrolling down, it will come from the left to the right. Boom. The same happens if you are here at the bottom. That component is not in view anymore. But if I scroll up, okay, cool. So this is today's project. I hope you guys are excited about it. We'll learn a lot about components, props, and reusing our code. So let's jump inside Visual Studio Code together and let's start building this project together from scratch. Okay, so let's start working. First thing I want to do is to organize my files and folders a bit better. So I'm going to start by going inside globals.css and removing this bit that I know that I won't be needing. Notice the following. In our project, in the final version, you can scroll up and down, but you do not get a browser's vertical scroll bar. And that's what I want to do right away. I'm just going to copy paste a tiny bit of code that will do that for us. This simple. Okay, cool. Okay, so now what else I need to do? I need to start creating my components. And I know that I will have three main ones: Navbar, footer, and this product component, product info component. So let's go inside app and say components, creating a folder called components. Inside components, let's create navbar.jsx. Okay. Do the same for the footer. And product. We now have our three main components, and we can apply them, at least the footer and the navbar, inside our layout. So I'm gonna import them. I do not need this bit. Cool. So now we can actually also go to our root page and get rid of this main. Let's have a look. Home, navbar, and footer. Perfect. So we know that the components are working and we can work. So now let's go and actually create the navbar component. So we are going to use a React hook, which means we need to use client string at the top, otherwise we'll get an error. And I'm just gonna copy paste some imports. We need to install React icons. I think I did that already, not really sure. Yes, I have installed it, so all you have to do is npm I react icons. Okay. Okay, cool. And now let's think. We'll use this state in order to help us to manage to handle the navigation on smaller screens. Okay, so let's start there. Cost, because we are not displaying it. We need a function to handle our navigation that will update the navigation variable. So handle navigation. So now we can go to the return. In this return, we'll actually return an header, HTML5 tag, and then inside it, we'll get a nav. Okay, but let's just style this. So the class name for this header with full bg slate 800. I want my text to have a very specific color, so I'm gonna copy paste this, right? And I want to, as we can see, our navbar to be fixed at the top. So I want to say fix it, top 0, left 0, z-index of 30, the highest z-index because it stays at the top and all the content when scrolled goes underneath. Okay, cool, not too bad. So now let's work on our nav. So class name, let's style it. I'm gonna give a max width of 1440 pixels. Okay, so we can say it's full width, it's going to be full, but it's gonna grow up to 1440 pixels. When it gets there, it gets aligned in the center by adding this class. I want to give a custom height of 90 pixels, and I want to use Flexbox to help me to align this in the center. Not in the center in this case, it's justify between. So because I'm gonna have these two elements and I want to align them that way. Justify between, and then items center. Okay, I want to give a padding x of 7 and a padding y of 4. X is horizontal, y is vertical. Okay, we have imported the link component from Next and we are going to use it inside our nav. Okay, so we don't need this for the moment. We just okay, so let's call the link component from Next, pass it href, and it's going to be our root because this is going to be our logo. So scooters, and what do I want to do? I actually should put this inside the p tag. And why is this? Because I want to also style it, class name, and I want to style this as let me think, font bold, not uppercase, I'm sorry, font bold, text 3XL. On LG, I want my text to be 2XL, and then on XL, I want my text to be 4XL, and cursor pointer, cool. So now let's create the navigation for bigger screens. So UL, this is the navigation that will be displaying on bigger screens. Okay, class name. So basically it starts as hidden, so it's not visible until LG breakpoint, where we show it by using flex. It's going to be uppercase. The font is going to be semi-bold. Text is going to be 14 pixels. And on Excel, I want my text to grow up to 16 pixels. Cool. Cursor pointer, and text white. So we'll see it here, not on this side. So let's say test. See, we see it on bigger screens, but we should not see it on smaller screens. So smaller screens, we don't see it. Bigger screens, we see it. So this is the navigation for bigger screens. So we won't see it now because it's minimized. But you got my point, I believe. So in here, we need to have our LIs, okay? LI tag, LI. In each LI, we'll nest a link from next. So href. This one, it's easy. It's going to say home, okay? And then we'll have another one, but this one needs a bit of styling. Class name, margin left of 12, margin left of 12. And we'll be linking externally, which means we need to add attribute to here. Another one, which is going to be target, and it's going to be blank, underscore blank. So it opens, so if the link gets clicked, the user still sees our website, but opens this page on a different tab. And the link, it's not this one. I'm gonna copy paste correct link, and the text is going to be become a dealer, and we can see, cool, amazing. This one can now be copied. One more time. The text for this one is going to be contact, and the link needs to be copied as well. There we go, cool. And we should see the three, and if I click, I open on a new tab, I click, I open on a new tab. So perfect. It is working, no problems at all. Okay, so now it's time for us to deal with the icons on a smaller screen, because on a smaller screen we are now not seeing anything. So if it gets this or smaller, we get nothing. But we want to see the icon, the hamburger icon or the close icon, depending on what it's clicked. Okay, so for that we need to handle first the icons. So smaller screens, buttons, no, icons, menu icons. Okay. So now we need to have a div for this. We need to have a div, and on this div, when this div gets clicked, I want to fire this function. Okay, so this div on click, on click, I want to fire this function first thing, and I'm gonna style it a bit, not uppercase, class name, block. On LG it's hidden, so we always show these icons until we reach the LG breakpoint, and then we hide the icons, and on the LG breakpoint we will show the larger screen navigation. That's what we are doing. Okay, and I want to give a z-index of 10, a lower z-index than the header itself, because we want this to be fixed at the top. Okay, cool. Okay, so we now need to use these icons, and we need to use a bit of logic to show or hide an icon. So first I'm going to say if navigation is true, I want to do something. I want to do something else. I want to do something else. This is the syntax. So I don't mess up, I'm just gonna copy paste the icons and all of this and explain it to you. This one, and I already messed it up. Okay, fix it. Okay, as you can see, we now have the icon. So what we are doing here is saying, so initially the navigation variable is set to false, right? But on click we trigger this function, and this function will change this variable to the opposite. If it's false, becomes true. If it's true, becomes false. Okay, that's what this is doing. Okay, so when we click, we are actually toggling between these two icons. Okay, and then if navigation is true, we want to show, if I clicked, it's true, I want to show the close icon. Okay, so let me just make this vertical because I think it's easier for you to read and follow. Okay, if the navigation is true, I want to show the close icon like now, and then if it's false, if I clicked it again, I want to show the hamburger icon, which is this icon. So now we have an icon on a small screens up to medium size, or in this case LG breakpoint. That's what we decided. That's what we decided here, LG and LG. Okay, this is the breakpoint. Okay, so on smaller screens up to LG we see the icon, and when we click we'll get, in this case from left to right, our navigation. If it's a bigger screen, we get the normal navigation. Okay. Okay, cool. So now that we handled the icons, it's time for us to actually handle the navigation links. So I'm going to copy paste just a comment so I don't forget anything. And now we are going to work on displaying, when we click this icon, displaying all of this. Okay, so for that, and this is a bit tricky, I'm gonna have a new div, of course, and inside this div I'm gonna firstly style it. But this one, because we need to use some logic in combination with this, I cannot use class name like that. I need to do it like this and say if navigation is true, apply these classes, else apply these classes. So this is the syntax, and now I'm gonna use the classes. Basically what we know is on LG breakpoint, we want to always hide it. So hidden, right? Then absolute top 0, left 0, bottom 0, flex, justify center with full items center. I think, let me think, so on LG Eden, absolute top, forgot, right, 0, left, bottom 0, flex, justify center, item center with full and height of screen, because I want to make this div grow the entire screen. That's why I'm doing the height screen. The BG background is going to be slate 800. I want to align the text in the center, text center, and is in a duration of 300 should be fine. I think I'm not forgetting anything. And then on LG it's going to be similar. So I want top, right, bottom, so the bottom, so right, so this part is the same, but the left, if I want to close, I want to fully hide this screen. I want to fully hide the div in the screen, so I'm gonna say left minus 100, so the div gets fully hidden to the left, coming from left to right, okay? And then top, so absolute top, right, bottom, left, top, right, forgetting bottom, okay, and then the usual flex box, flex, justify to the center, items to the center with full, one more time, DH screen, text, oops, text center, without a typo please, text center, and this is going to be the same, and let's test this, and inside, so mobile nav links, okay, there you go, and it's working, cool, see? Okay, so boom, yeah, this is what we wanted. Happy with this. So now we need to work on the links themselves. So I'm gonna get another UL, of course, to nest my LIs. So I'm gonna have my first LI, and the LIs are going to be the same, so I can just copy paste them. So we save a tiny bit of time, and this should be all good now. Something is wrong. What is wrong? Okay, I copied, pasted, but the margin is different, so, and I need to do something else. Okay, so yeah, so let me first, I need to, I was forgetting, of course, class name I want to style, so I want my padding X of 8, uppercase, font bold, cursor pointer. Cool. My first li, I need to give it a class name, and it's going to be margin 4 to all sides, and on click I want to run this function. This will close my navigation. So I'm going to put it right there, and I need to margin of 4, and this one actually doesn't need any margin. I think this is going to be all cool. Yeah, now it's all good. So I click home, takes me to home, and closes. I click become a dealer, it's gonna take me outside on a new tab and close this. And it does. See? Closed it and open it right here. And the same goes for contact. It's gonna take me to contact, which is outside, and it's gonna close this. Yeah. Actually closes and then takes us. Cool. So this is fully working, and this is exactly what we wanted to do. We have our navbar fully working, and we are good to go when it comes to the navbar. So we need to keep building stuff. So yeah, let's do this. Not bad so far, but now let's work on our main component, which is going to be this product card with all of the info, and we can click on these images to see more details, and we can click on the button to open another external page, whatever. And the main thing about this component is that it's going to take a bunch of props in order for us to reuse it 2 times. So we'll add it once and reuse it 2 times, just by passing different props to it, of course. So this is what we are going to be doing now. And yeah, this is cool, this is important. So let's go close the navbar and go to our product, and let's work on this. Okay, so what do we know about this? One more time, we need to use the use state, because we need to do that for like these images. We need that hook, and that tells us again that we need to use client one more time right at the top, so we do not get any error thrown at us. Okay, and then I'm gonna import 3 things that I know that I'm gonna be needing: the hook that I mentioned, the use state, the image, and the link components from Next. So now we can really start working on this product, and this product will take several props. So I'm gonna do a bit of destructuring. So as you can see, there's going to be plenty of props, okay, to work with. So we'll have a main title, which is this one, then we'll have a description, there you go, then we'll have a price, and then we'll have a quantity for the stock, a product category, that we don't see it here on a smaller screen, we only see it on a bigger screen. So let me show you, there you go. This is the product category. Then we have the product SKU number, and then we'll have 6 images, 3, 6, and each image will have to have an alt tag. Especially when you're dealing with images using the image component in Next.js, you need to provide the alt tag, otherwise it's gonna throw you an error. Okay, so now let's use useState to help us to manage all of these images dynamically. Okay, so before my return, I need to make plenty of room, and I'm gonna use const, and I'm just gonna say slide images. Normally you would see like something like set slide images and equals to use state, and something will go here to initialize it, but we won't be updating it. We won't be updating this variable, so we can actually get rid of this. Okay, So in here, what I need to do is to pass in an object. And I have listed our images. I believe I already did that. So we have plenty of images, okay? And I use the number to know which one is each one. So adventure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So all I'm gonna do now is like img, sorry, not. I can simply copy. It's easier. And I'm gonna set this to itself. And then I'm gonna do this 6 times, 5 times more. Okay, as you can see, we are going to have 6 images. Cool. So what we also need to figure out is which image is active. Okay, because we need to display always an image. When the page refreshes, there's got to be one image displayed, and then when the user clicks, you change to the corresponding image. But there's got to be always one available. And how do we do that? We need to use the use state again. So we can say something as const. And now we are going to use the usual syntax. And I'm going to call this active img for image and set active img. And this equals the use state. Okay. And how am I going to initialize this? It's simple. I'm going to grab my array, slide images, boom, and I'm going to say the active image is always the image number 1 in this case, right? Because I wanted to show always this first image. So this is how I'm going to be displaying always the first image. See, this image is this one, and this image is this one. Okay, this is what we are doing. Cool. So now what else? Now that I have that, and I'm passing the images as props, which means when I call this component inside the home page 3 times, on each time I will pass the URL for image 1, image 2, image 3, and so on and so forth. So first component, it's going to be the sentinel, so it's going to be this, 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 and this, and this one also. Okay, so let's continue and let's build the UI for this, okay? Okay, let's go inside the return. And let's firstly have this div, and let's start styling it. So class name. Okay, so flex call. I want to use a call this time. Justify between. On LG, I want this to change to flex row and give it a gap of 16. Yep. And on LG, I want items to the center. Okay. And this needs to be relative. Okay. What else? 1, 2. I'm gonna need. Let me organize myself. So first, I'm gonna need one div right here, and I need another div right here. So I'm just creating the markup so I don't forget anything. 1, 2. Then I'm gonna need details, like a comment. Okay, and I think, I know that I'm gonna need another div. And this should be fine in terms of the initial markup. Okay, so let's start working. This component is going to be a bit long. Okay, but it's going to be totally worth it. Okay, so class name, absolute top 0, right 0, and I'm gonna have a span in here, span, and this span will have a very specific color. So I need to have a class name here. So I add my styling, class name, font semi-bold, and then capitalize, and then it's going to be hidden. But on MD, I want to show it, so flags, text 1XL, on MD, text 2XL, on LG, text 3XL. And what do I want to show here? It's actually my product category, I think. Product category, yes, because I want to show this. That's why it's absolute top and right, okay? But this is going to be only visible on bigger screens. That's why it's hidden, and then we put it to flag. So smaller screens, we don't see it because this is hidden, but on MD onwards, we show it, right? And because the div is absolute, it's going to be on the top and on the right. Okay, this is what we are doing. So this is our product category. So I can just copy this prop and pass the prop right here. To be honest, in this case, we didn't really need this to be a prop because it's going to be always the same thing, urban mobility. But in case we wanted to change for some reason, we could, because I'm passing this as a prop. Okay. Okay, cool. So now we need to work on this secondary div. So not secondary, on this second div, sorry. Flex call. I want to give it a gap of 6. On LG, I want this width to be this. Okay. And now I need to use an image, and I have imported that at the top. So an image component, and with React, this component, we need to pass mandatory attributes like source. In this case, the source is going to be my active image. Sorry, this one, the one that we are selecting, always the first one. So this is going to be the big image, okay, the one that you see here. The alt, this time I'm not going to pass anything, but I will show you how to pass it as a prop. We can just call it like urban e-scooter, whatever. We should not leave it blank, so good practices. I'm gonna say the width 500, the height 500. I'm gonna give it like a priority attribute, and then I'm gonna still style it with full, and then height full. On MD, I want the width to be a bit smaller, just 50%, and still it's quite big because these images don't have that much quality, to be honest. On MD, the height, the same thing, 50%, so it's like a square. Also on MD, I want to align it to the center, and because I'm not giving like full width, I'm gonna align it to the center, so it's not aligned to the left or right. And let me think, on LG, I want the width to be a bit bigger, so 80%. On LG, I want the height to be again the same percentage, so it's still a square. And aspect property aspect square, cool, object cover. And this should be it. Oh no, I need to round it on Excel, round it on Excel. Okay, this is what we are doing, and the rounded is giving these rounded corners. Okay, this is not rounded on Excel, sorry, this is rounded Excel, so it always gives you this rounded corners. So this Excel does not mean the breakpoint. It's just the Tailwind CSS class to give this rounded corners in the 4 sides. So right below this, I'm gonna have another div. So I'm gonna have another div, and this is where I will be calling my images. Okay, but I'm gonna style it first. So class name flex row, because the images are placed horizontally, so therefore row, not call. Justify between height of 20, width of full. On MD, I want a max width of 80% horizontally, and because it's not 100%, I need to center align it max auto. Cool. So now I'm gonna call the image component one more time. Image, and the source src. It's going to be not that, so it needs to be dynamic. It's going to be slide images. This is where my images are nested, and .img1, of course, the alt, and this is how you pass the alt as a prop. So you're gonna say image alt1 tag, because you have it here as a prop, right? So whatever you pass inside the string, it's going to be your alt. The width is going to be 500. The height is going to be 500. I'm going to also give it a priority and class name. Now I need to style it a tiny bit, and now I'm going to style these squares. Okay, so the width is going to be 42 pixels. How did I get to these numbers and amounts? By testing. So I ended up figuring out that was a good measure, in my opinion. So I want to give a margin right of 1, so I get like a gap on smaller screens. You get a gap even smaller than this. Okay. I also want rounded, in this case MD, so rounded but not that much. Cursor pointer. Okay, and then on click I need to set active image. Okay, so to what? To the same image, because you clicked it there and you want to see it, right? Okay, this should be good. Okay, and this is this part for the images. We now need to build this part for the information. Okay, so we need to build the details part. Okay, so the details part, we're gonna need first to style it. So class name, it's going to be flex call gap for on LG, I want my width to be this much. It's called because we want to put it always vertically, regardless of the screen size. Notice that most of the things are vertically aligned. Okay, that's why we are giving a flex call. Okay, now we need another div in here. It's going to be padding y of 1, and inside this I'm gonna get my h1, which is my main title, h1, and I'm gonna pass the main title prop in here, main title. Okay, boom. Of course needs a bit of styling. Class name, and the main title text is going to be 3XL, font bold, margin top of 1. Okay, we don't see anything because we have not called the component yet on the home page, and we have not passed any props to it. That's why it's blank, and that's why we still look at the finished version so we see what we are doing. Okay, so then I'm gonna need, below that I'm gonna need a P. I'm actually gonna copy paste this. This is going to be a P. This is going to be a P tag. Padding y doesn't matter. So, but what I want to do here is text gray 700, and the prop is going to be description, which is this prop. Looks like I made a mistake. I'm gonna paste this instead, and this is this part right here, this text. Okay. What else? We're gonna need another div, padding y. Now it's gonna be an h6 instead of h1. Okay, and this h6 is gonna get different classes: text 2XL, font semi bold, and I'm gonna need a span inside this h6. So in here I'm actually gonna get a span, okay, and I'm actually gonna just copy this to be a bit faster. It's quite simple anyways. What else? Now we need to move on to one more div, and this div will hold two spans inside. Another div, class name, text xs, text slate, text slate 500. This one goes for the SKU, for the SKU, the same SKU. There you go. Of course, this is the stock and this is the SKU. Almost done. We need one last div, which is going to be this button. Okay. So we need another div. So div Okay, div, come on. Class name flex row, justify center, md justify start. So basically I want this button on smaller screens to be aligned in the center, but on md onwards should be aligned in the left, on the left. Okay, items center never changes, and margin top of 2. And I'm gonna get another div in here. This div will have a class of full, because I want this to take the full width so the button can position itself as I want. Class name with full, and in here finally I will have a link surrounding the button. I'm gonna just copy paste and explain it to you. It's a bit faster, it's not that hard, and that's what we are doing. Okay, we still don't see anything because we need to start passing the props. So I'm passing call to action link, which is another prop right here, which is the link to the button. So each button will have a different link. So basically we have created the component and everything is dynamic because we are passing all these props, prop, and so on, which means now we can go ahead, import this component in our home page and start passing some props to it, and we'll see it on the home page. So let's go. So now we can see it works, okay? Cool. So all I did was to add a div. Inside the div lives a section. Inside the section I'm calling this component. Then I'm passing the corresponding props, okay? And I'm gonna do this is component number 1. I'm gonna do this 2 more times and I will show you the result. Okay, so now we have the 3 products on the page, okay? I have passed the props, everything is working, so cool. We need to work on the footer, we need to add the animations, but this is all working. Okay, so let's continue. Right, so we are closer to finishing this project. So we now have the component, call it 3 times, and we pass it different prop values to it. Of course, you will have to use your own images and your own prop values, whatever. The point is for you to figure out and learn how to build this, but we are still missing stuff, right? So this is our project, but we need to build the footer and we have no animation yet. So there's the animation, there's the footer. So let's start by building the footer. Okay, let's close all of this. Doesn't really matter. And let's go and work on the footer and we'll go from there. Okay, so here I need to import actually link from next link because we need that because we'll be linking in the footer. and we will be linking externally. Still, we need the link component, okay? So it's a footer, so we are not going to return a div, but a footer tag, okay, from HTML5. Cool. What else? Inside this footer, I better class name. I'm gonna style this footer first, bg slate 800. The text, I want that yellowish color, so I'm gonna copy paste to be faster. Padding vertically 10, and I want a custom height of 100 pixels. Okay, 100 pixels. There you go. So the footer is styled. So inside the footer, we are actually gonna get 3 individual divs. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is what we have. So let's go. Let's just prepare the markup here a bit so I don't forget anything. As usual, this is the way I like to do it. Okay, first div. No, I'm actually forgetting. I need an outer div to wrap these 3 main divs. So I can then use flex. So I can put this one right here. Put it this one right there. And I can indent this. Cool. So let's then style this outer div. So class name. And I want to use flex. And I want to use always flex call. I want the content to be vertically always. On MD, I want to flex row. So I mean always on a smaller screens, on larger screens. So MD onwards, I want it to put the columns side by side. Justify center and items center. So if I now do like 1, 2, 3, we should be able to see the results. And there you go. See? Vertically align it, and then 1, 2, 3 horizontally align it. Okay. Okay. So each, I can actually now delete all of this. So each column class name, each column class name. I want to take the full width, not caps lock, sorry, full, and the text I want to align it to the center of the div. I always want to use uppercase. The font, I want it to be bold. Okay, and I want the text to be 2XL, text 2XL. This is a very simple footer, I know that. Now let's make use of the link component that we have imported at the top. Link takes href, boom. And because we'll be linking externally, we need to add the target attribute, underscore blank. And let's start it a bit. Class name, padding y of 2. It's this simple. So I'm actually gonna delete this so I can actually duplicate this tree. Okay. This is all I'm gonna be needing. So the first one, the link is the company. I mean, I use the uppercase, so it doesn't matter how I write it here. And I need to copy paste the correct link. And there you go. The second one, it's going to be support. So support. And the last one is actually going to be different. I messed it up. So I don't need this. And the classes are different, so let's style. So I'm going to say flex, flex call on MD flex row, justify center items, not start, but center, and padding top of 5. And in here, inside, all I'm gonna need is a p tag. So a p, and inside that p tag, I'm gonna have just a little bit of text saying tribute website, no rights reserved. So this is just a project. This is not a sponsored video of any sort or anything. So that's why I'm adding tribute website and no rights reserved. So you can do whatever you want with this code. I don't really care. Just explore, play with it, make it better, and let me know what you did. So the width, it's going to be full. I don't need this to be full because it takes full width. By definition, it's a block level element. So text center, padding y of 5, and text sm, and text white. So let's have a quick look to see. Okay, oh, this should have been a div. Hold on. Okay, I messed it up somewhere. So let me have a quick look. So why? Yeah, so this height actually, height I'm gonna say auto. But this divs, oh, of course, because this div needs to be outside. See, I like to do my markup first so I don't mess up like this, but I made a mistake and I'm fixing it. Okay, now it's all good. And this should have been 100 pixels. Yeah, but that makes a mistake, so this cannot be that, so maybe 300. Okay, I like it. 300 is too big. 200. Yeah, I need to play with these amounts. Okay. So 200 pixels it is. Let me see. Oh, come on. Okay. I think, yeah. Does it work? It does. All good. Okay, not too bad, I guess. Yeah, so the footer is done. But did I forget? We'll have to play with the height. I'm gonna give like a padding top or something. Okay, I will fix that because this is now glued together and I do not want that, so I need to, well, I can, the simplest way is to do like a margin top of, I don't know, 80 pixels. Yeah, just to give like a gap in here, you know? Yeah. You can play with these numbers. This is not so important. This is not the focus. I can actually check how many pixels I have in here. So 200. So I can actually do margin top of 200. So then I have the same gap. See, this gap now is the same as this. Okay? This is a quick fix. Okay, of course, on small screens you do not need that gap, so let's say LG, and now you don't have it. So maybe you want a margin top of just 20, just to give it a little gap. exactly, always 20, but on LG, boom, 200. Okay, you can play with these numbers. This CSS is not so important. The main focus of the project is this reusable component and its props. So that's the main thing. Okay, for me, I'm happy with the result. I think this is good. All we have to do is to add use framer motion to add some animation to this second component. Okay, so when we scroll up and down, we see it moving and doing some basic animation. So that's what we are going to be doing next. Okay, so it's time for us to use framer motion to basically animate this div in particular. I decided to go with this one. You can go with any div. So what I'm showing you can be applied to all of the divs if you want to, okay? Or any other element. So it's a general concept. So for that, we need to install two packages. Framer motion that we do not have under our dependencies object, and we also need to install one thing called React intersection observer. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna just install that. So for that I need to stop my server and say npm I, and I want to install framer motion. Good, and I have it. I can see it right here. So now let's go and do the same for the other package that we need to build this animation. npm I React intersection observer. Boom, we have it. Okay, so this should be good. So let's just restart the server for now. npm run dev. And now we can really start animating things. This is going to be the setup for this. It's a tiny bit complex in my opinion. For the first time you see this, I am not familiar with framer motion, although it's one of the topics that I want to explore over time in the channel because I'm interested in that. So this is the first time I am introducing framer motion in one of my videos, but definitely this is not going to be the last time. Okay, that out of the way, so let's continue. And what do we want? We want to go to the page where we call it the components, and as I said, the second div, we want to animate this div somehow. So how are we going to accomplish that? That's the main question, isn't it? Okay, so for that we need to import first framer motion. Okay, and we also need to import the use in view, and these two relate to the packages that we have just installed. Then we need to use we will have to use a React hook to help us. In this case is the use effect, sorry I was thinking, and this means we need to use client at the top. So basically in the latest Next.js version, every time you use a React hook, you need to use this, okay? Otherwise it will throw you an error, and you do not want that, although it's a quick fix still. So now we need to use animation from framer motion one more time. So I'm actually gonna glue these together, so because they relate, so I think it's easier for you to spot them. And we'll need to use images and links from Next.js, so we also need to import that. As you can see, plenty of imports. This means plenty of work ahead. Okay, now what do we need to do? Okay, so we need to set things up. So I think it's easier if I just do and then explain. So in this one, I want to wrap this div. Okay, I want to wrap this div, so I can actually do this. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna paste it in. Boom. And this div will use the ref. This ref relates to in view. This in view, okay, and we'll figure out if the div in this case is in view or not. So if we go to our final project, see, when this is in view, definitely we can, when this component is in view, something happens. So I go lower, and when I come back, you notice from left to right, it actually came from left to right. And the same will happen if I go down, if I scroll down from left to right now, boom. Because at this point, the second component, it is not in view. This is why I gave this huge padding, so we can clearly see where we are at. But the moment that we scroll down, and we'll see a tiny bit of the component here, it will start, the animation will start. It will trigger the animation. See? Did you spot it? Okay, this is what in view is doing. It's spotting when it's in view, and if it is, does something with it. So this div, actually, I know that I'm going to need to use the ref. So ref equals ref. Okay, leave it like this for the moment. And I also know that for me to animate a div, I need to add motion dot at the beginning and at the end of the div. Okay, so these things are necessary for us. This will detect when this component is in view, and this motion dot something, it's the element that we are trying to animate. So now, before the return, we need to set up plenty of things, okay, because we'll be dealing with hooks. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna set a const for the in view, const ref in view. Okay, and this is gonna be set to in view hook, use in view. So I can simply copy. Okay. Okay, I think this is it. If not, we'll get an error and we'll have to fix it. So then I need a const for the animation, okay, and this is going to use the other hook, this one from Framer Motion, right? Oops, not like that. Sorry. And now I need to use the use effect, okay? And the use effect will show me inside the console what's going on. I can console log. Actually, let me just use the use effect first. Use effect. So the syntax is this, and then arrow function. And then this. So this is the syntax for the use effect. You can console log and see if this component is in view or no or not to trigger, because you already have the ref here, and you can see if this is in view or not. Okay, so we could do something like console.log and then it's in view, so it's gonna, oops, what am I doing? Sorry. Yeah, because I used single quotes. Okay, so I need to use it's in view, and I need to know if it's true or false. So what I'm gonna be doing is passing this. Okay, and now if I do not make any typos, I might be successful. Okay, let me see if this works already. I think it should work, but I'm not 100% sure. So, this, now I'm gonna create next up. So I'm gonna close our original product and just leave the project that we are currently working on, so I don't get confused. So I'm gonna inspect this bad boy and see if this is in view or not. Console, so nothing here. And when I scroll down, when the second component appears, I hope to see a message like in view. Failed to load. Okay? And I don't. Okay, what am I forgetting? Use effect. Of course, I also need to do something else that I forgot. So I need to use the animation. So this, I need to use the animation in here. I'm not really sure if this is the reason or not, to be honest, so let's give it a try. Okay, it was. So we can clear this. Let's forget all of this, and boom. See? False. It's not in view, and it's not, but when I scroll down in this case, it turns to true, because you start to see it. And it's still true until it disappears. True, disappears, it's false. See? So it's detecting if it's in view or not, and that was the point. So this is what we wanted to test. So this seems all good to me. What else? Now we need to do, now that we have the div ready to be animated, when it's in view, we want to do something with it, correct? We want to animate it somehow. So this div. So how are we going to accomplish this? So inside our use effect, okay, I'm going to use an if statement, and if what? If in view, if the component is visible, what do I want to do? I want animation dot start. Okay, this is just the syntax, and I want the x, so the horizontal property, go to 0, and I'm going to explain you this in a second. And I want to add a transition. So this is what gives this bounce effect and all of that. The transition, the type is going to be the usual spring. A duration. You can play with these properties and amounts and values. I did this, and I think as an example it's good enough to illustrate my point. Bounds 0.3. So basically, is the if the component is in view, if this is true, if it's in view, I want to perform this, right? But if it's not in view, so in view, and if I'm gonna just copy paste, if not in view, and this is gonna start as not in view, okay? It's not yet, because it's gonna be, because I'm gonna hide it, minus 100 pixels. So it's gonna move it to the left. So horizontal minus will move it to the left. It's gonna hide the component, and we should not see it, or just a bit. I'm not really sure. I need to check, to be honest. The transition, we do not need anything apart from the duration that should be 2. Okay, and this should be it. Let's have a quick look. I'm gonna just refresh it. So now the component is not in view, but when I scroll down, boom, see, bottom left, boom, one more time, boom. Cool, so it's working. So now the component is not in view, but when I scroll up, top left, boom. So this is the simple animation that we just added. So this is all working. So we have successfully finished the project. So basically the component is hidden by default because we are giving a negative value to the X, and you can play with this. So if you see, I can play, maybe if I just change this to 500. Let's see what happens. Should be partially visible only. See, it's way faster because it was just a tiny bit hidden, so that's why I gave that big amount. So you really notice that it's moving and coming from left to right. Okay, left to right. Cool. So this is done. I hope you guys enjoyed the project, and of course this is fully responsive. You know that, you checked it, all of that, it's all working. Well, you can play with the CSS alignments and the paddings and all of that to your own preference. I mean, you could give the same, this gap, vertical gap is the same as this one, but this is the same as this one, but this one is not the same, okay? I mean, it is the same, but visually looks like it isn't because the navbar is fixed, so gives you the impression that it's not. In fact, probably it is, but the point is you can play with all of this. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you did enjoy, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know whether you like it, let me know what you like. Consider sharing this video with people that might be interested in this type of stuff. And yes, I will see you on the next video. Bye!